Sarah and Max, an unlikely pair in this wild podcast, they're the perfect flair. Sarah charms, so feminine and free, a Cali girl spirit under the podcast tree. Max a strong force with a punch in every word. Together they navigate this dating absurd. Don't forget to hit subscribe, join the crew for more laughs and tales just for you. Now back to the show.
Okay, hello everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Good for Shidduchim. I am your host, Sarah Levine. I have my co-host with me, Max Landisman.
But before we begin, we have a special sponsor. And guys, if you are single, there's only one thing that women want to hear more than your bank account and your height, and that's if you learn. And if you don't have a chavrusa right now, you can find a chavrusa using My Avrech. With My Avrech, they will simply match you up with a perfect avrech for you. You can study any topic you want, and of course, it's good for shidduchim. Go to myavrech.co and get your avrech today.
I'm yet in another place, but it's okay. Just jumping, from home to home. We're really excited to get into another episode this week. We are really happy to have a guest with us. If you guys want to listen to us, like us, subscribe to our page, give us a 5-star review. You can follow us on our Instagram handle, which is Good for Shidduchim. And then also, if you want to send an email, it's goodforshidduchim@gmail.com. Without further ado, we have a guest with us, Robin Gutman. We're really excited to ask her our questions. She is a counselor in mental health. And you'll tell us a little bit about yourself, but we are really excited to hear your insights on a couple things.
Thank you. Yeah, thanks for having me here. So I've been in the field it's just under 10 years now. I'm a licensed mental health clinician, and I really specialize in the area of relationships, something I've always been interested in. So I see lots of individuals and also some couples, and I always wanted to go into this field. I think that there's a part of me that's super emotional and is able to very much attune to people. And I also have a super practical side. So even years ago, when I was in high school, I was I felt like this would be it was something I was very interested in, just connecting people and helping them sort through things, because the emotional and the practical together, I think make me very effective. And I love what I do. And yeah, so I'm thrilled to be here and talk about it, because I just love talking about all things mental health and relationship related.
I feel like especially nowadays, the practical aspect is lacking in a lot of people. So I'm glad to hear that.
You need a balance.
Yeah,
Seriously,
you
right?
definitely need a balance. So it sounds like you wanted to do this throughout your high school career. Did you have any other ideas you were dabbling in, or you were pretty set on counseling?
Yeah, I literally always wanted to be a therapist. And I did my undergrad straight out of high school, pretty much. And then I actually took a lot of years off, just being home with my kids. And then I went back to school. So yeah,
Wow.
I did grad school as a mom.
I have no idea how you could do it. I was thinking about going back to get my master's for literally, I think, about an hour. I was thinking about it. And then I was like, oh my God, I have no idea how I would do this.
Yeah, I think I blocked out a lot of it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's probably a little bit of a trauma situation, but then at the end you have what you want. So
Exactly. I'm actually teaching in my alma mater now, so that was actually a little bit oh my goodness, signing back. It was virtual, so signing on, and I'm oh, here I am again, and the blackboard, but I'm the professor now. It's okay. So.
That's pretty awesome. What's that like? That's pretty
full
cool.
Circle, come full circle. Yeah,
it's nice. It keeps me fresh. It keeps me I like that learning environment too, so it's fun.
Oh, okay, that's nice. So what type, you said that you work with individuals and also couples, but is there a main clientele that you focus on?
Yeah, so my main clientele are typically women between the ages of 20 and 40. I'll say that's my main. Doesn't mean there's not outliers. And
I think what you're looking at is the demographic of people that listen to Good for Shidduchim. I think we have the exact same, yeah. I'm just kidding. Sorry to interrupt, but yeah.
Yeah, no, that's good. I guess, it's a good sign. People are investing in themselves and in their relationships. So that's a good thing. And I do see some couples, but usually I keep that to I have fewer couples than individuals. It's harder to work with couples. So I don't do couples full time. But I love it because it's women who are interested in really exploring Either things that are coming up for them in relationships or getting to know, I guess these are really related, getting to know a little bit more about like themselves, how they show up in relationships, what their blockages might be. So I love that because they're amazing skills to have. And I feel like, it's helpful and it's important because I really believe that human beings are wired for connection. So it's such an essential thing.
Right. Are there a lot of women that you speak to? Are they married? They were probably maybe married really young and now they're trying to find themselves. Is it a lot of that or something else?
Honestly, both. There are singles and married, both. Definitely people who got married young. I think, there's an advantage to being, I'll call it young and dumb. There's definitely, as they say, right? So there is that advantage kind of just learning together and growing together and being more malleable. But also there's a certain maturity that comes along with people who are using their time wisely, their single years wisely to again, invest in themselves and explore and really get to know themselves on a deeper level and what they really need, want, and like I said before, what their blockages are. So I really see both.
Now, do you focus solely just on women, or it's just that's who approached you, or do you help men as well?
So at this point, I really focused more on women. I think I just do my best work there, and I think ethically as a counselor, you want to really do your best work, So if I'm finding that I'm just doing well there, then that's what I look to do.
That's your niche, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
So while I guess we'll focus more on, I guess, the single aspect, just because that's what we wanted to focus on. Mm-hmm. So I wanted to know, what are the main complaints that you're hearing from women? Is there a consistent theme? Are there consistent triggers? Are there consistent toxicities around dating that you hear often, a theme throughout clients?
Yeah. That's a really good question. I don't know that I could say there's a definite theme, but if I had to pick one, I might say, and I've spoken about this before, the sense of self piece, maybe the uncertainty of relationships. Sometimes there's even a fear of relationships. So I guess uncertainty / fear, there's something there that they're just not so comfortable with. And so we explore that and try to figure out a little bit more about that.
And how can that come out, for people to be more aware, I guess, how can that manifest itself?
Yeah, it could be a person who's nervous to date, or afraid to make a decision, afraid to commit, hyper independent. All of these could be things that come up, and there are so many more.
That hyper independence, the strong independent women nowadays. But I've heard this, but there is a thought out there that women have become so independent that it actually is shooting them in the foot. What is your take on that?
Yeah. So I think women being independent is kind of great, but I like how you put it. You could be so independent, like I said, for hyper independent, that it is a little bit shooting yourself in the foot. So there's a couple of things I would say. Firstly, it's really important to be a giver. But that's a really surface level answer. So if we go a little bit deeper, I'm going to pull a little bit up from the attachment theory. So attachment theory, I'll say in a nutshell, it's the idea of being able to attach, typically in childhood and infancy, right? Attaching to a caregiver in a healthy way gives you a secure attachment. And I think about 70% of people have that secure attachment where their parents were attuned to their needs. And it's so incredible because studies show that as babies, the way that your parents respond to you could literally impact the relationships that you have in adulthood. Isn't that just incredible? You're talking decades down. So it just forms this belief in yourself and how deserving you are. Now, before anyone is listening to this and thinking oh, my parents were unable to do that for me, and I just want to point out also that it's really a myth that oh, it must be dysfunctional homes, only that produce non-secure people. That's a complete myth because there's circumstantial things that happen too, right? There could be an illness or a parent who lost their job, or maybe there are people who are taking care of a dying parent as they have an infant, like there's circumstantial stressors that can come up. So it can happen to like the most loving, well-meaning, best of families, where an infant, for whatever reason, like just didn't get exactly what they needed. I want to bring that over to like today in adulthood, right? So if somebody got that secure attachment, that's fantastic. But if somebody got like an anxious attachment or an avoidant attachment, okay, so let's go back to that idea of like the hyper dependence, right? If someone has an anxious attachment, they may be seen as really like capable and independent, like they can take care of themselves, they got it like going, but they're giving up connection and they're giving up like, instead of being able to get their needs met in a relationship, they're just learning to take care of themselves because, again, if we trace back the attachment theory, like that just feels safest. Like no one's really able to do this for me. I got to do it for myself. So it looks great, right? So independent, so capable, but like you need to learn to soften a little bit and you need to learn to have that give and take.
Yeah, you hear that, feminists? You guys got to soften up a little bit. I'm just saying, like,
Well,
I kid you. Hold on. I kid you not. This was an actual conversation. This happened to me on social. This happened on Instagram, where there was a post. There was a post about something, whatever, and my comment was because according to feminists, as they say, we don't need no man. That is, and legitimately, a feminist actually responded to that. They're like, "You're right. We don't. It would be nice to have." And I feel like this is like perpetuating a serious problem where it's like, if you legitimately think like, yeah, guys are just nice to have, kind of like, it's nice to have flowers. You don't need flowers, but they're just nice to have. Then they, what do you think about that?
Yeah, I think real relationships, like you need to have a vulnerability. And if it's hard to access that vulnerability, then yeah, you're going to kind of have that attitude of like, we don't really need you. Because here's where I would kind of question, is it because you're scared of being vulnerable and maybe you have a tough time bonding with someone? Or is it like, do you actually not need anybody? Again, I feel like human beings are wired for connection. So I don't know that I truly believe that statement.
Yeah, I just thought the whole
what
thing
do you
was.
feel like? I know also Max has said like chivalrous like acts. He has been told like not to do. Like some girls are like, don't get the door for me. I can get my own door. Even like don't pick me up. I don't need you to pick me up in your car. And I understand sometimes like you may feel like I don't really know who this guy is for safety reasons. I personally prefer not to be picked up, but I understand kind of where the woman is coming from, but I wanted to hear more about like the chivalry. Like chivalry is totally dead, but also people are trying to like make it dead. So I just wanted to hear what your thoughts are on that.
Yeah. So I just want to be super clear. Like, I'm all for women being independent. Like, I don't want anyone to misread me, but I will say that if someone doesn't feel comfortable accepting a chivalrous gesture, it would raise a red flag for me. And I would be curious, like, what their, like, do they have trust issues? If they find it difficult to, like, rely on somebody, how lonely they must be inside. Like, again, that could be a big jump and there's different levels of loneliness and trust and all that, but like essentially, like if I'm boiling it down, I would question like their ability to trust another person, to be able to accept that gesture, to be able to feel the worthiness. Like, why can't somebody do something nice for you? Is it okay for another woman to hold open the door for you? Would that, like, are you not able to accept kindness from anybody? And if you could accept it from a woman but not a man, like, why?
I legitimately feel like this whole feminist movement was from, and on an individual level was from a guy who completely either pissed off or caused the lack of trust with the like someone reached out to us via email, wanted to be on the show. Honestly, it would have been cool, but like it was way too inappropriate. But long story short, she was married. Her husband cheated on her. Now she's a self-proclaimed feminist. And kind of goes on like stuff like that. Do you feel like that's kind of where it's coming from? It's like it's just the lack of trust of
Oh yeah.
like one guy screwed up, so therefore all guys are bad.
Yeah. Okay. And it goes a little deeper. Like, I wonder what her dad was like. You know, like sometimes people pick the partner that kind of mirrors, there's a whole idea of like repairing your childhood wounds through marriage. Like it goes deeper. But yeah, as you're saying that, I'm like, oh, well, of course her trust was broken. Like, of course she's, going to run in the other direction. That makes sense.
Right. So what should she do? Like, is obviously go to therapy probably, but
I
is
was
that
going to
enough,
say
or is this?
therapy.
Yeah, like, is that? Have you seen where someone can actually overcome something like that?
But I have, but like it takes a lot of work. And also in this day and age, people are all about like fast, like when are things
Yeah.
going to change? And I'm like, I really believe that a lot of what happens in therapy is the building of trust, like the therapeutic relationship, assuming it's a healthy one and, boundaries and all that. But yeah, there's a lot of trust that's built in that relationship. So the role of therapy, A, builds that relational trust, and B, you're able to learn skills that increase your tolerance to manage stressful situations. So you're able to expose yourself to maybe situations where you are trusting somebody, you're more comfortable accepting, taking, again, softening into your role, into your feminine side of like just being able to be that receiver. And I think that's really important. And definitely that's something that can be learned in therapy.
For sure.
Mhm.
It's interesting because when I first started therapy for my own, I'm a big advocate for therapy. I think everyone should go, to be honest with you. But when I first went, I'm like, all right, so how many sessions is it going to take for me to get better, and when can we finish? I totally didn't realize how this therapy actually works. Obviously now I do, but like I couldn't see myself not being with a therapist. Like I feel like it's that important. So yeah, I just wanted to mention that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I wanted to say two things. First of all, the attachment theory, I am like hyper anxious about because I have an 8-month-old, and I am so anxious about it that my husband is like telling me to like calm down. Only because I had to put him in a daycare, and I was like, he needs a primary caregiver. It can't just be two people. It's like, so now I'm like getting anxious that I'm too anxious about it, but that's okay. We're gonna calm down. And
Okay.
the second thing, the second thing is, um, I actually was one of those women. I didn't trust men like when I was dating, and I disassociated while I was dating, and I didn't realize this. And I did psychodynamic therapy, I did CBT, and like through those therapies, I told my therapist the reason why I'm able to get married is because of him. Um, and I will say, like, I understand where these women are definitely coming from. To me, it was a defense mechanism that actually made me feel safe. Um, and it proved myself right again and again when I was like, when other things would come up, like negative things would come up with whoever I was dating, and I would just like brush it off because
Yeah.
I didn't attach to them in the proper way because here it is, here's something else that this guy is going to do. So I will say I understand where these women are coming from because I was avoidant as well, and it's not easy. I do feel that there is a personality that comes with these. Like, I have a very strong personality. I am very independent. I like making my own money. I like being my own person. I like doing things on my own time. And I will say, like, thank God I found a partner that understands that. I also think that's important too, is realizing that, like, you can find somebody who understands how you want to be, and you can understand how they want to be. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But I do want people to understand, like, these women, they're I understand it, and you can definitely like help yourself, and you can find it. And it's hard, I think, because it's more of like your personality is going against you a little bit. And it felt very unnatural for me. But in the end of the day, like, I did find my person. So
You're welcome.
yes, thanks, Max. But it's a hard process for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, okay, I'll go backwards. I'll address the first thing that you brought up first, right? Because if anyone listening to this, has a small child or is hoping to have a small child, and they also want to work, right?
For me, taking it, I'm just like the whole every day. I'm like, is this going to affect him? Like, we came 2 minutes late. Is that going to set off his schedule?
Yeah, because in a way we learn so much about like how important it is, like the attachment and all that. So it could be really scary. It's actually a huge responsibility, and it could feel like oppressive almost, like it's too much. It's like scary, right? So I think the really important thing to remember is that like as long as you're attuned, there's also the idea of like the good enough mother. Like as long as you're most of the time attuned, and a primary caregiver is most commonly thought of as the mom, especially if there's like a nursing mom, like who's literally like giving nourishment to their child. It would be mom, dad, and then there's also a caregiver. So if a child's at daycare, as long as the caregiver at daycare is attuned and is able to make that eye contact and be responsive to the child's cues, your child will be fine.
Okay, it's fine. You could tell me anything. I'm like still so anxious.
It's a big responsibility. So and then moving from there.
It's in a great place. We really like them. So
Yeah, that's good. Again, it's normal to be nervous about something that's a big responsibility. And I guess that will kind of bring me to the next point that you brought up, which is like when you're dating, right? Also, like choosing a partner, that's a big responsibility. Like, how am I supposed to choose someone who I'll be with for the rest of my life, especially if I like being independent and I like earning my own money and I like my personality, right? I value my independence and all of that. And like everything else in life, so much of it comes down to like a balancing act. And that's why I said very clearly before, I'm not advocating that women are not independent. Be independent, that's great. But it's also helpful to know like what your values are, what you're looking for, what areas do you feel like are the most important? Because I have a list of values in my office. There's like, I don't know, 50 words on there. You can't expect somebody to have like all 50 of those. Like choose 5 or 6 of them that are really important to you and like use those, like look for the, like you have to funnel it a little bit to see what really resonates with you. And like, how do you can't live your life according to 50 different values. I mean, that's overwhelming. You're going to drop the ball at some point, right? But if you narrow it down to what's really important, hopefully you can find the balance between being independent and also finding someone who shares those values and you're compatible with. So, and again, it goes back to also leaning into the ability to be able to accept that. The trust piece is really important.
Mm-hmm. We also wanted to ask you your opinion of like, there are no good men out there, or all the good men are taken.
I can't. I literally.
I also feel like that's an ongoing theme that I do hear, and I honestly don't know what to say.
I have plenty to say, but yeah.
But no, but
I have plenty to say.
That's triggering for you.
Yeah.
A little trigger. Well, yeah, absolutely. Because it's a stupid thing to say. Because just as women can say that about men, men can say that about women. And what does that get us? Nowhere. It gets us nowhere. I feel like there's a constant. Here's how I see it. Women constantly complain that there are no good guys. Not saying it's hard to date. It's across the board. There's no question it's hard to date. What I hear women say all the time is there are no good guys out there. What you will never hear a guy say is that there are no good women out there. You will never hear a guy say that. I don't care how big of a schmuck the guy is. You will never hear that.
No
women say that publicly.
No women out there.
What?
No guy has ever said that.
I've never heard it. For women, it's a constant. You'll hear it on a average Tuesday, and the problem is that what I see is that by saying that, you are then pissing off men, and as a result, men start resenting women, and obviously, women already resent guys. Between those two factors, no one's ever getting married this way. So I actually legitimately am trying to hold back on just like making fun of feminists and things like that. I am trying. I'm trying to bridge the gap a little bit more. I can do better. There's no question. But obviously pisses off. I feel like I speak on behalf of men that we're just fed up with this. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you're bringing up a great point, which is like also what you say becomes your reality, right? So I would recommend to men and women, like, if you make statements like that, then like, yeah, that's what's going to cross your path. Like, then that's just how you see the world. So,
Basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, Yeah, there are no good guys out there. So good luck. Good luck.
So,
Yeah.
so Robin, you think like if you just change your perspective on it, like what's your entire?
I mean, it's not like this magical philosophy, but like it's the idea of if you wake up in the morning and you're like, I'm gonna have a horrible day, and like it might be a beautiful sunny day, and you're like, just this day's the worst. Like I don't like this, right? And like you just tell yourself that all day, you're probably not gonna have a great day, right? So it's not magic. I'm not saying that if you wake up and you're all like, it's a wonderful day, all Pollyanna. I'm not saying that you're just gonna be walking around with like sparkles and rainbows all day. Like you might still, trip or spill your coffee, but the way you handle it will be different, right? So if you go on a date with somebody who like just isn't for you, you might leave the date and be like, oh God, there's no good guys out there. Or you might just tell yourself, he wasn't the right one. Now I definitely know I'm not looking for, that kind of whatever, fill in the blank, trait or type or whatever. Like take something from it, but if you let yourself get mired in the despair of like, oh, there's no one good out there, then it's just harder to see the good. It's harder to see when there is someone who might be your type, but like you're just too busy looking at who's not your type, and so you might miss out on the good. Not that you're going to miss out on a person. It's just more of like a way of living, a way of being, a way of seeing people.
It's like
absolutely
changing your attitude a little bit and having and perspective on just that one area.
Yeah. I'm curious what you think about this. Sometimes people say things about other people that kind of mirror what they're carrying.
Oh my gosh.
Right? But they don't want to so if someone was saying that, I might also encourage them to like look inwards. Like
They should call Robin for therapy. Legit.
I mean,
I can't tell them that, but
they're like projecting how they feel.
Maybe they wish they were like presenting a little bit differently, but they feel kind of, it's very subconscious. I don't know that anyone's consciously thinking like, oh, I feel hopeless about myself, so I'll dump it on the fact that there's no good guys out there. Like, but if somebody was to come in and say like, there's no good guys, I would like to help them explore like, what's making you say that? And it might be a sense of self-worth that's being projected onto the guys.
Mm-hmm.
Possibly.
How much does social media play into this as far as self-worth and just like projecting on others?
Oh my gosh. Okay. Social media and self-worth. There are studies that are just, social media does not do good things for your self-worth. I think that's very clear.
Yeah.
The interesting thing is that also, as we were describing before about like, good guys, people who say good guys are hard to find. I see a lot of reels on Instagram of like these dream guys. They're like cleaning the house, washing the dishes, tying the garbage. They're doing all these like amazing,
Are they shirtless as well with a six-pack? Like,
six-pack.
I wonder what's on Robin's feed. But yeah.
Just recently, some things have been popping up with women who are like, it's a joke, but they're saying things like, oh, things, for things I charge my husband for, raising my kid, or one person was really funny. They were talking about their fee. They were talking about their weekly rate. This is what I make in a week. I'm a private chef. I'm a dog walker. I nanny for a child. It was very funny. Even as I was watching it, I didn't realize that they were talking about themselves. So I don't think it's something about me, but regardless, so it was funny because I had seen so many more of men who are like doing these things, and they're kind of the ideal. I'm not sure how many of them exist. Like they almost seem too good to be true. But the whole point of me bringing this up is not to say that you should go watch these things. My point is that it's almost like, I don't know if it's a realistic ideal that's being dangled in front of people to make you think like this is everybody, and it's not. And people don't get married like fully developed. Like when you get into a relationship, you have to work with each other. You have to share expectations with each other, I shouldn't say expectations, I should say hopes. Because hopefully, you can share your hopes and your dreams with your partner. And if they're able to match that, that's great. And if not, there's disappointments and you have to learn, to navigate those. But the main takeaway is that social media makes you feel bad about yourself. It might make you reach for things that are completely unrealistic. And I'm not saying that men shouldn't be helpful and all that. And again, each person could discuss with their partner what they want that to look like. But the same way we would tell men to not see images of women as like the standard women ideal, I would say the same thing to women. Like, don't look at these, videos of men and think that's the standard ideal. Like, Does that make sense? Like, we're all real people. I don't know.
It's more like a Instagram versus reality situation.
Kind of. Yeah. That's where I feel like social media doesn't really do us a service.
Mm-hmm. So you feel like women like have this, they're scrolling on social media and they're looking at these and they're like, I want a man like that, or I can
Yeah.
set the bar even higher because look, all these guys are doing it.
Yeah. It looks like so attainable and so obvious.
Mm.
I don't understand. Hold on. There are accounts of guys that are just washing dishes, and that's the account. Like that's the whole.
I don't know about accounts. I don't follow people's accounts, but there are things that will come up sometimes of just like dads who are just like being all hands on and helpful and like, oh, my
Yeah.
wife, this is what I do for my wife, and they're just like
I
cleaning
hear.
the kitchen at the end of every night. Like I don't know how many men actually clean. I mean, like please tell me if I'm wrong. Like that's pretty impressive.
No,
I'm
no,
willing to be
you're
wrong.
pretty right. No, you're pretty right. Yeah.
You know, I
Well,
think most women don't even want to clean the kitchen. I think most kitchens probably don't get cleaned. But
I will say, yeah, I've seen on my Instagram, they've popped up. It's more like timestamps, like me taking care of the house when my wife is out or something. And it's like time stamped. And I don't know, I personally am just like laughing. I'm like, this is just not happening. I don't like, it's just, some of them are realistic. And I'm not saying that guys can't take care of the house. I'm sure they can. But you could tell which ones are like genuine and which ones are just like for the Instagram. But
yeah,
Should I
yeah,
should I do that as a test? I'll video myself washing dishes, and the caption will be cleaning up while my girlfriend's out. Not that, and and just
yeah.
see all the responses, and then maybe
You
we
yeah.
need
can do
to
this as a social
timestamp it.
project.
You need to be
Yeah.
like
I'll
folding
keep my shirt on
laundry.
though. I'll keep my
Yeah,
shirt
washing
on.
dishes, folding laundry, vacuuming, mopping. Like you have to do a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, these are all things I
Mhm.
do anyways. Just happens to be this might actually be interesting. Okay,
I was
Yeah.
gonna
all
So
right,
say,
social media is
Max,
a
like
lot of
I
fun.
know that you take care of yourself, so
sort of.
this is all up your alley. That's very genuine. You should just videotape yourself like making a crock pot dinner,
There we go.
and then
Yeah.
you'll get like 100 million people on Instagram.
Robin, I think you've cracked the code for men.
Wow.
Seriously. If we just filmed ourselves washing dishes,
There we go.
that's what it is.
And
Yeah.
you only have to do it once, and then the caption be like, when my girlfriend goes out, or like how I take care of the house or whatever.
Yeah. Or just like you could change your shirt in between like every dish and then it looks like you did it every day for a month, like
Yeah.
yeah, be
Exactly.
creative.
Oh wow, that's
Exactly.
really creative.
You
Max,
can
I
help
think
me
you've got
produce the
something here.
videos.
But in reality, social media is a lot of fun. I'm not like anti-social media, but don't take your like life directives from social media. Like that's
It's
not
hard
going
not
to be
to.
good for us.
No, it's really bad out there.
Mm-hmm.
It's really bad.
Robin, is it okay if we ask you one more question?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. So we wanted to know about your thoughts on when parents or our parents being a little too overwhelming in terms of dating, and your thoughts of when it is appropriate to have them involved and when it is not appropriate to have them involved.
Oh, that's a really good question. Okay. Also super individual because parents, I mean, every person's going to have a different relationship with their parent. So I don't know that a parent can make an assumption that like I have a say over your dating life. But if you build that relationship with your child throughout their, teenage years and young adulthood and obviously before, and you have that relationship where they respect you and listen to you, then that could be a conversation. But a parent who just feels like they have a say because they birthed this child and now they get to say like, who they think they should date or who they should pick as a marriage partner, like that's overstepping. So a lot of it is going to have to do with the parent-child relationship for sure.
What about like these parents that make decisions without even consulting the child or someone who's dating?
Decisions as far as what?
Yes or no? Like I'm going to say yes for my kid. Or I'm going to say no for my kid. I'm not even going to ask them because I know what they need. I know what they want. I've had conversations with them. Like
Yeah.
parents say that a lot. And the only reason why I'm bringing it up is because Max personally knows two people that were told that they like by their parents they would not want to go out with who they're actually married to today.
Oh, wow.
So,
Okay.
so yeah, we just wanted to know your thoughts on that.
Yeah. So I would say a parent, again, the relationship is so important because if a parent is making a decision for their child without asking their child, like, hey, what are you looking for? Like, if they're just making assumptions, that's an issue. If a parent feels like they know exactly what their child is looking for and they've discussed it with their child and they can confidently say, like, this is not what they're looking for. If somebody wants to live in a certain place that the other person says that's not negotiable, right? I don't want to move out of here. And like, if it's a clear black and white, we've had this conversation, I know this is not what you're looking for, that makes sense to me, right? But if it's an assumption or it's something they're unclear about, of course they have to have that conversation with the child. I don't know that it's so easy to just say no. Again, different social circles, different, people have different standards. So again, it's hard to say for everybody parents should or shouldn't do it. But for the most part, I definitely think that it needs to be an open conversation between the parent and their dating child. If your child's old enough to get married, they're old enough to have a say in who they marry.
You would think so, right?
I mean, I would hope at least it's a date,
Interesting. Okay.
Yep. Well, anyways, we're getting down to that mark. Before we end off, Robin, was there anything else you'd like to leave off with, or where can people find you to connect with you, and especially those who desperately need therapy?
Yeah, so it's been a great conversation. As far as, you mentioned before, like, I think everyone needs therapy. I definitely think everyone could benefit from therapy. I do believe that. I don't know if everyone needs it in the same way, but there's always a benefit to doing that, like, deeper work and self-exploration and getting some insight.
Well said.
Yeah, so if you'd like to find me, you can go to my website, robingutman.com. I actually have like a fun little quiz up there. I think it's called, like, Do I Need Therapy? If I'm remembering the title right. So that's, could be a fun thing to explore. And yeah, you can find me there or via Instagram at robingutman_LPC.
That's great. That's amazing. One of the questions should be, do you hate men? And the answer would probably be yes. And like, you definitely need therapy.
Go check it out.
Definitely. Anything to help the Shidduchim world, for sure.
Yeah. People need each other, and we're all going to thrive more if there's that, like, trust and love and good connections. So yeah, bring it on.
Yeah.
Amen.
All right. Well, thank you so much. We appreciate your time. We appreciate what you have to say. And I wanted to say thank you so much to our listeners. Please give us a 5-star review, like us, subscribe to our page, and hopefully we'll see you next time. Bye, everybody.
And remember, everything will always be about Shidduchim. Catch you in the next episode.